Hi everyone and welcome back to this Odoo Insider session. I was off for a few weeks and it's been a long time that I couldn't discuss with you guys. So maybe it will be different because I feel like, you know, the moment where you don't work for a long time and then you come back to work and then I have the feeling that I will be a bit slow today, but we'll see. It's maybe the turkey of 2 days ago. I don't know. We'll see. Hopefully you had a very good Christmas period still ongoing. We'll see each other next week. I know it's a calm period, so I don't know if we'll have a lot of questions today. But anyway, in case we don't, I have a few that I prepared on my side. I went on a few partner requests, client requests, or questions that we couldn't answer in the previous meetings we had together. Also, Arthur told me that he started having not only the show on LinkedIn and Twitch, but now we are also on YouTube, and it's fun because it's the place where we have at the moment 3 questions, so we can already start with those ones. Maybe a light, small reminder here. All the past, you had it website, mid-market, tech with Emanuele, HR and payroll with Antoine and Pierre. So that is in the past, and here we are on the regular Q&A session. And next week, very important, we start 30 minutes a bit earlier, just to check how it's working, changing a bit the time. So don't worry if you join at the same time next week. You will have the feeling that I start a bit earlier. That's normal. It will be the case, and we'll check if it's not a bit better for everyone to participate. We'll start and check for a few weeks at the very least, because as I said, on the 2nd of January, I don't know if everyone is back to work, so I expect it to be a bit calm as well. In the meantime, what I can do is have a look at the questions that we have already on YouTube, and if I don't have any more questions, I will switch to mine. As you can see, you know that I have a few. I always have a few, just in case. But we can start with that. And the funny first question is that it's related to the payroll module. But if you have a look, it would have been better to ask that question last week, because we had someone that is a specialist on the payroll. But I can have a look. So let's have a look at that and connect. And your question is, how can I set my employee and paid their payroll? So it's a very, very broad question related to the payroll, but let's discover that. I'm going to make a few changes and zoom in a little bit, because even for me, it's a bit far. Okay, do I have the payroll installed here? Nope, I don't. So I will quickly go into the applications, and I will start on my database, but maybe it would be smarter that I go on a demo environment. I will show why. I will start with the payroll module, and what I usually do when I'm trying to develop a bit more and to dive into the payroll application, I like to test that with demo data, because otherwise it's a bit long to create in terms of basic setup, and it's better demoed with the demo data. And one that I'm using is usually the one of Belgium, simply because I can explain it better, and you have a few more modules. It reminds me that in something like 1 month, Antoine and Pierre that were the last ones to have the Odoo Insider session last week. They will come back in something like 3 weeks, 1 month, to discuss a bit more in depth the Swiss accounting and the Swiss payroll. And the link with, I think, Swiss Deck. But so in 1 month, you will have a specific session about Switzerland. Very, very interesting, I believe. So you see here, I'm going to install some Belgian payroll stuff. And in the meantime, I'm going also to load the demo database, just to have yes, a bit more information. So the date is on the 13th of February. Okay, it will be that HR, Swiss HR. Yeah, it's. I thought it was in 3 weeks, but in fact it's more like 1 month and a half. But that's good. All right, we'll advertise a bit more the different sessions that we have. It's not the first time that we have the Odoo Insider, so we try to get a bit more prepared and to have at least the next sessions 1 month in advance, so that you can also tell you what. All right. Here I see that I have the connection lost on the demo environment, but we'll check. There we don't have the payroll either. Let's try to see. Okay, payroll. And I will add the Belgian one as well. All right. Okay. Then switching back on my database. Now I should have payroll. Okay. So if you want to start having your payroll and you want to use it, well, one of the things that you need to generate in the end are the pay slips of your employees. If I go in all pay slips, of course, here I'm not in a demo environment, so it's empty. While if you go in a demo environment, I'm checking here, you see that is saying I have correction lost, but I don't think it's true. And we see in the background a little purple thing, just the line here, so it shows that it's loading. I guess it will be fine, and I will end up having a payroll. Just wait a bit more. But what I can do before we dive into the payroll is really quickly explain the most important, let's say, types of records that we have in the payroll application. And the first is maybe related to the notion of salary structure. Salary structure, for example, in Belgium, I will dive in one of the structures that we have here, but we have something that we call a CP. It's very technically Belgian stuff that we call a commission paritaire, but it's a type of, it's not even a type of contract, it's just some rule that is applied to all people being part of that same group. Industry sector, but it's usually CP200, it's really linked to the service industry, and so you have lots, thousands and millions maybe of people in that commission. There's maybe another name for that. It's other countries have something similar but with another name, and I know because I spoke with a French person like 2 months ago, and he told me, yes, on our side it is called that way. So every country that has quite elaborated payroll system or just pay laws or human resource laws, they will have something like this, where then once you have that notion of big group with lots of laws applied the same way to that group, then here you would see different size structures. And the most important one is the monthly pay. Well, this one will be applied every month, but then you have a few specifics, like in this specific CP that we have in Belgium, you have one thing where you have a double holiday. We have extra pay that happens twice during the year, so the double holiday and then the 13th month. And there are then extra rules. So 13th month, it's funny because we received it something like 2 weeks ago, because it's always in December. We receive an extra small amount if you match some conditions. But the most important one that is happening every month is this one. And when you go there, you have that salary structure, and that salary structure is a set of different rules that will be applied. And those rules will be the ones you go through when you have a pay slip, and that you say that the employee is linked somehow to that structure because it's part of his contract. Odoo will know, okay, this employee has a contract and the contract is linked to that structure. So it will mean that I will be able to generate the payslip of that employee thanks to that structure. And in that structure, you will see all the different rules that we want to apply. Usually it goes from top to bottom, where we start with a basic salary, then some holiday pay, the commissions, hiring bonus eventually, different things that you have here. And maybe I can dive in one of those. Basic salary, I think it will be quite easy. There are always two very important parts, is when do I apply it? So it's the condition. And then how do I compute the amount? And the condition here, apparently, the basic salary, it's always true. So there's no way to change this. Well, there's a way, but there's no reason for changing this. It's normal to have a basic amount, a basic salary. And in fact, the way Odoo is going to compute that is with a bit of Python code, putting the amount in a variable that is called result that we are going to use. And that maybe that result information is better explained when you go and want to create a new rule, because Odoo will define the different variables that you have access to. But so you have different rules, and thanks to those rules, Odoo will be able to generate a payslip. I will go back to the demo environment just to see if it's not a bit faster, because usually there are a few, here there are a few ones. That's funny because I don't see any any payslips. So is it that I'm missing some access right or something like this? No, because here we have employees, blah blah blah. I will refresh this one, and we'll see. Yes, payslips. All right. And if I have a look at all the payslips, I will find, I'm pretty sure there must be one. Maybe there's one with the structure that I want. Regular pay is the structure. Okay, it's not the Belgian one, but the rules will be more or less the same. I'm just checking if we have one that is linked to a different structure. No, it's all the same structure that is called regular pay. If I go in the configuration, I have a look at the different structures. Yeah, it's just the employee here. In fact, I guess I didn't install the ones related to the Belgian low. But here, that's why regular pay is just demo data showing a few computations that you have on how to compute the basic salary, the house rent allowance, the conveyance allowance, and all those lines. If I go back on the payslip and select the payslip of, one of the batch, the last batch that we have here for Mark Demo, up, you will find, or Mitchell, is there a difference between both? No, it's pretty similar. You will see that here's the way the salary is computed based on the rules that we defined earlier that are in the structure. So rules that are here are the ones that we can find. They are grouped together in a structure that in a way we attach to the employee through the notion of contract. And so that's why if I were to go on Mark right here, I'm pretty sure that I will find a contract. That from that contract, I would find also a salary structure that is here. You see employee. So that's how we are going to find information and link that information together between the employee, the contract, and the way we are going to compute the salaries. It's very important also very often, if not all the time, in the structure that we are going to apply, we are going to make use of data that is here. So the wage that is here is going to be used. Information that is here is going to be used as well for computing some aspect of the salary. So going back to the notion of rules, if I want to create a new rule in an existing salary, you will see that there, and that's what I wanted to show, is if you want to use Python, Odoo is going always to explain a few things to you, like which are the different variables that you can use and how to output information in the result. And that's why you see here the output is very often a result where you have a table of different values, like here the net, and in the net you have a total. Same here, we're just going to put a result in for the line that will be computed thanks to this new rule. And so if you have a look at an existing rule, usually we skip, well, we remove that help, so that's why you won't see it. Pretty sure that if I go in another rule, I can remove this one. If I go in the regular pay, I'm pretty sure that, even though I have Python code here, you see we skip every time the help. So that's why creating a new rule, you will find exactly what you want. So going back to the question, which is how can I set my employer and pay their payroll? Usually what you need to do is have a look at, well, first of all, if we really start from scratch, you need to install the right application, go then in the employees, and from your employee, you are going to select, create a contract. So you see here, there's not any contract. You can create one contract for Abigail Peterson. Oops. And you are going to define a bit of information like the wage, the different benefits that the person has, the structure type, all the information that you need to, after that, compute correctly the amount. And then usually, you should have already a salary structure existing. If you don't, you are not going to be able to compute anything, and that salary structure is usually either already existing in Odoo, or you need to create it yourself, the same way that we created on our side the salary structure. Okay, I would put HR responsible here, the same way that we created a salary structure on our side. Oops, I can go there. Here in the types and the structure. Once that is done, you have the employee, you have the contract, you have the structure, all is linked, and you will go in the payslip, and you are going to create a new payslip, either this way, by going there and creating a new one. But most of the time, when you have different, more than one employee, you are going to create batches, because you are going to pay anyway them. You pay your people usually the same day of the month, and so you are going to create a new batch. And for doing so, you click on New here. You are going to say, let's see if I can already generate the one for January. January 2025. I'm going to put the period. I don't know, maybe something will be missing in 2025 because there's a switch of year. Maybe I'm not thinking about a specific rule. If it doesn't work, I will try with November. And so there it's telling me, okay, do you want to do it for a department, a specific position, or a salary structure? If I don't, I click generate. I think it will select everyone. Let's try this. Clicking on generate. Yes. And then you see there I have something related to some time off, and I'm pretty sure that this is because I would need to first clear a few things on the time off application, because we are switching from one year to the other. So hence I will maybe go back to an easier case. Not sure it will be any better, but let's try this one. No, same story. Time off to defer. I will try with maybe just one department. So what would we have? I said, I don't know if we have a lot of contracts there. I will go back in the payroll. So we have a few contracts already running. I can try just Mitchell, or if I go, do we have the department? Yes. Okay. Yes, all right, running. Administration, I just have one, so if I select this one, yes, I will only have Tina. Yeah, and just selecting this, it's generated, I guess, yeah, the payslip for Tina. And there we have it, and we will be able to compute the salary. Very important is that in the inputs here, you can have extra variable that you will add yourself. Like commissions will be there, I believe. Some extras you can put them also in the inputs, which is a specific type of computation you will make on top of the salary. Where here you have everything that is expected, and maybe here you are going to have some more extras. That is how you would create it. I don't remember exactly who asked that on YouTube, but that is the very basic way of working. Again, there was another session on payroll, specific one last week. So don't hesitate to have a look. You have it on LinkedIn and Twitch. We still have a place where we have all the links, right? I think with the previous videos. Is that one still live like this? Okay, the post that we made, and this one.
I posted the link for the replace.
Okay, that one works.
It's something I do. It's I put a comment on every platform.
Yeah.
Directly into the live where they can just click the link.
Okay, so regularly followers have the possibility to re-click on the link and see the previous sessions anyway. Yeah.
And right now we have 2 people on the document.
Okay, very good. So at the moment we see people browsing the document, so it's good. We know you have access. Ooh. Okay, guys, I'm continuing this one. On YouTube, there were a few questions. The first one was about, yes, this. I have a question about the inventory module, but then the question was not asked, and somebody else said, is it possible to hide the product name in the quotation printouts? Yes, it is. So we can do that.
Maybe something that ESA added, or country is Ethiopia.
Okay. Yes, ESA, because you asked a question about the payroll module, a country being Ethiopia or another one, broadly speaking, it works the same way. Usually we know that the rules are a bit easier there, but if you feel like you need some help for creating the rules for the payroll, you can ask us, because we have a few payroll specialists and we can help creating that structure, because we, as you can see, a quick thing that you can do is that if you type and have a look at the payroll, you will see that there are no modules specifically linked to Ethiopia in the payroll. We have, maybe it's close to the Kenyan way of doing, and for which we have the payroll, because usually we have the payroll modules where Odoo has local offices, and we have one in Kenya. So if it's closed, it could be a good idea to start working and creating your rules based on the Kenyan one if things are similar. As you can see here, we have a few rules. So, but Ethiopia, I don't see it. So, yeah, you would have to create your own, but we can help you and assist you doing that. All right. The other question, going back to Saud 118, is it possible to hide product name in the quotation products? So I was saying yes, and we can demo that. So we go into sales. I'm going to select this one. You see my product is storable product, and if I print that quote, I'm pretty sure we'll find the product, but I don't know exactly how you would do that, because then you still need to explain what you are going to sell. So there's a first, well, very blunt way, direct way to do this, which is, you see me sometimes doing that. I'm going to the reporting, but I need to be in debug mode first. I will be having a look at the reports, and you know that in the reports, if I type the quote, I will find my quote order that is here, and there you see the template name is this one. and it will lead me to find the document that we need to change, which is this one. So going back in the views, this is the document that we will have to change. We can make a very quick test just to check that. I sometimes do this. Let's try to see if it's working. We'll make this one a bit bigger. Again, I'm editing here directly in the file. If you have been a follower of the Odoo Insider show, that usually, well, not usually, always, not usually, always use the notion of inherited views and not changing the view like I'm doing right now. But here it's more like for a test purpose. And here you can see that, in fact, somewhere we are going to have a for each, not condition, but a for each statement, meaning we are going to make a loop in every line. And the lines to report are the lines that we want to have in the report, in the PDF report, and those will be stated as lines after. So that's why we have here line name. And the line name is the, here I will go in debug mode as well. It will use the name as the line. For every line, we are going to show the name attribute of a sale order line. And here you see the description is the name. We have the product template, and then you have the description. It's fun because you see here, you have the feeling that you are going to add something while you don't. Have a look at the difference. The number of columns is not going to change. You see if I do this, but the description is there. Okay, so if I do this, it's a bit different because Odoo changed the way of working of this column, where now I think it's better if I create a new one because you will see a difference. If I click on add a product, now you see if I type something, let's say, oops, it proposes me all the products that contains a I would say table, but then you have that little thing that is to enter a description. If I type blah blah, then I will have both a description and a product that are linked. If I remove this, yes, you see a difference. It's just a matter of a widget. I think that V17 doesn't look exactly the same, and that those are then two different columns. So keep in mind that I'm always showing, I'm trying to at least, exception made of if you ask me not to do so, but I'm always showing this on the latest version that I have available, and here it's a version 18. So that's why if you just have a product, you won't see the difference between product and description, but there you see the description is only here. So what we could do is hide the product name and only show the description. If I do this, I would rather go there and be sure that instead of having the name, I would show the description. But there's another tricky thing is that if you paid attention, the description label is the name field. So let's have a look at this one now, what it does. Let's print this quotation and order. Oops. And if I print it, you see I have both. I have the name, the product itself, and the description. So here, let's go back to this place. You see that it seems a bit weird because we have, while we ask the line name, we have the whole description and name of the product. So it seems already tricky to do. Let's have a look at a second thing just to see what is exactly inside the field. If I export it here, and you will see why I'm doing this, I'm going to remove lots of things here because I'm mostly interested not in the sale order itself, but in the lines. So I'm going to have a look at the lines, order lines, and then in the order lines, I'm going to have a look at the name. That is what we are going to have as an output, and I'm going to have a look at maybe. So we have the name. Do we have a description? Something description. Well, that's the field. That's okay. It's the same. And then we said product, so that we can see, show the difference. Okay, order line, order ID, price list, product ID. All right. I would have thought that the product would have been a mandatory thing, and apparently it's not. Okay, order line, product ID. We can try that. I could have said product ID.name, it would have been better, but here we are going to have only one ID. And what you do have is, yes, that is going to make it a bit harder because you see here the description contains the name of the product. So that is maybe something that is problematic because then it's going to be a bit more complex to exactly do what you want. Because I thought that we would have something like this, only table here and blah blah there, meaning that either you show both table and blah blah, or you show only table or only blah blah. But in fact, when you have the base working of Odoo is to reuse the product name in the description, and that is going to make your demand a bit harder to complete. If you really want to remove the product, what you need to do is there are different ways you can do that. Let's imagine that your product always has the same description. That would be the first case, in which case the description is usually, because that I didn't explain, the description is usually coming from here with a quotation description. And if I put default sales description right there, and you are happy because it will always be the same and you don't want to change it, going back here, and I remove this, I will add my table again. Then you see you have a default sales description. What we can do is, instead of having the whole name field selected and reminder, the name field is going to select both, what we could do is say, but in fact, as we only want always the same description, it's at the default sales one, we just can select the sales description here in the field, but we don't have the name exactly, so we need to inspect that. I'm going to show you this, so I can find the right field. It's description sale, that's the name of the field. I could go on my report and say, in fact, don't select the name of the sale order line, but rather select the product ID, then sale description, well, description sale. Doing this, if I go back to my quote, I'm changing the way it works by telling Odoo that I would like to always have the same sale description. And that, let me check right here, and then it works. You see, I don't have the table before simply because I'm always using the sale description. But then it means also that if you want to have a specific dedicated description that would be like blah, 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 like this, then it won't show because that is not contained in my sale description. So if your case is very simple and it's always the same description, that will work. But here you see that is not working. Well, at least I don't have the rest of this. So starting from there, maybe a different way to do would be to ask Odoo to create a new column just to put the default sales description anyway, and maybe on your side complete it with your own description. In which case, we can try that. Just opening Studio to go a bit faster. I will go there and will say edit the list view. And I'm going to add a new description field. And I wonder if this one is an HTML field, by the way. No, it's just text. I will do the same then. I will add here, I will select text, and I will put a new one and say it's Odoo Insider description hops that we could do. We could do this, and then you type your own description. And of course, in that case, I will have to change this so that it selects Studio description, and that should work as well. Let's see what it does. Okay, now I have my own description over there. That works, but then you are going to tell me, yeah, but sometimes I would like to load the information, which would mean, and that is maybe the last thing I will do for this example, which would be preload the default value in the sales and then make it possible to amend it with some own description. And that we could try at the very least. I'm going to create a new automated rule, and let's see if I can create something that will make the default value go there as soon as I change the product information. So let's do that. Change product on SO line, changes new desk field, and then we go on the sale order line. right there, and I'm going to say not on save, but I will try to do it on UI change, and I'm going to say that's when we change the product field, but I need to be sure it's a product, not the product template, but the product field, and we have many different product stuff. So I think that's the one, because the one is product template. I'm going to select this one, but maybe I should select both, in fact. Okay, when we do this, I'm going to add an action, and there I'm not sure about the correct way to change the value, by the way. So we'll see if I can make it. I have a doubt now about my capacity to do it right here this following way. So we're going to write something in there. It will be X Studio or I description. This one should be the description that we have on the record.product ID .sale description sale. I have a doubt that this will work that way, but let's try it and let's see if Odoo is telling me something wrong or right. Let's go back here. Okay. All right. Let's add the table. Yes, that is so fun. That works. Okay, and so you can change that here, because I was not sure about the correctness of what I was doing. And then you can simply say blah, 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 and add your own description. By default, it's loaded my description there. And so if I now reuse my report, quotation order, then this should work, I guess, because there's no reason it was working before. Should be working the same way. And now I have my own description. So it preloads the sales description, and it makes it possible for you to complete it. So you needed two things: change the report, and then create that kind of action. But of course, here, if I select another thing, there it removes the description, and it will make it blank if there's no specific description on that product. But this works. Again, last thing I need to mention: don't change it the following way, but create a nice inherited view so that works better. I will move back to the name so that I'm not confused next time I'm making a change on the sale order. But what I was demonstrating apparently works. And I'm happy, because I was not sure about that. I was not sure of the following. I was not sure that creating this, it was a proper way to write it with a record write on the UI change, but apparently it works well.
I have a question about maybe working remote.
Uh-huh.
I would like maybe to answer.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yes, okay. On LinkedIn, there was a question, and it's related to working at Odoo, I believe. I would like you would like an internship or a full job, but remote, like a Odoo developer. I'm not sure that's what we offer. Do we offer full remote positions?
That's my question.
I'm not sure.
I answered, but I'm not aware.
Okay. Oh, yes. You saw that it was your answer. I'm not sure if we do that. So it's Octai IEF. Just what you can do for that is connect and go on odoo.com/jobs. That's where we have all the job listing everywhere in the world. That's why here by default it will select Belgium, but you see we are still recruiting like hell. Depending on for which country you would like to work, you can ask, let's say, product owner that is typically in Belgium. You can click on apply, and clicking on apply, you could just say, hey, I would like to ask you a few questions, like, is it possible to work remote? Because full remote, I don't know if we still offer it. I know that in the past we did during COVID time, because there was no choice, but now I'm not sure we do it.
Normalized, there was a note about developers
Mm-hmm.
when we met at the Peanuts and etc.
Okay.
At the Acte 3 company.
All right. And
All company meeting.
what did we normalize?
So for developers, they have to attend a bit more.
Okay. So it's 3 days a week.
At least.
At least, okay. Yeah, here it's 3 days. You see me talking with Arthur, exchanging ideas about that. Here it's 3 days a week at the office. I don't know if all the other Odoo offices work the same way in the world, but that's basically the idea. It's very hard to have a full remote policy because you realize how much you learn and how much you work better simply because you are next to colleagues. There is the culture that is better passed when you are next to each other. So that's why I'm not sure it's something that is possible. But I'm not sure about that either. But we had a lot of people relocating to Belgium, for example, in the past. So I'm pretty sure that if you are ready to move, that would be a possibility. All right, next question. This time we go on Twitch with Jump to Swiss. Hello, I would like to know how to import a chart of account. However, when I import all the unpaid invoice, which I do directly as PDF, I might end up with duplicates in the chart of account. For example, Switzerland, this is an example of the account 3,200. How can I avoid this? I don't know because do I need to manually deduct the differences from the account? I'm not sure about what you're asking because there's something that I find a bit weird is usually when you import unpaid invoice and you do it as PDF, it shouldn't be creating new accounts in the chart of account. I'm showing why. Usually it's going to use existing ones, but it's not going to create new ones. So the chart of accounts you have here is not going to be modified by what you import in terms of invoice. Let me check if I can find a good example on my computer with, usually I always have 1 or 2 invoices I can upload. Let me check that. Yes, there's this one. I can maybe show it on the screen, by the way, on your screen. So if you see here, we have an invoice. It's French, but there's nowhere a mention of an account that needs to be used, and it makes sense because usually when you receive a PDF invoice from a supplier, you don't know, well, it doesn't know your tax code even. So that's why I'm wondering if there's a confusion. At least in the PDF, you don't have that information, but if you go from another software and you would like to re-import it in Odoo, indeed, you may be able to select the account to which you would like to link your invoice line. But then you need to reuse accounts that already exist in Odoo. Maybe Odoo will allow in the import window to create account at the same time as we import, but I would say never do that. It's always better to not trust this option. I understand that it is making it easier to import, but I really don't like it because it's error prone. So don't do that if possible. But then if you import, can we go back on Twitch, or I will do it on my side. Yes, end up with duplicate of the chart of accounts. Okay, but so there are different questions in one, but maybe importing chart of account, it depends. You have the possibility to use, as you can see here, I'm in the chart of account, you can click on import and then it will propose to import different ways. And then here you have some information about importing the chart of account. If you click there, you can select your template. I don't think that Odoo is going to propose a template over there, but that would mean that you have an Excel template or a CSV template with everything you need in terms of chart of account. If you want to know, yeah, there's a template. There, Odoo is going to show you how the template could be. But that is not exactly this. It's also for importing opening balance with different amounts. That is not exactly the only thing that you would have to do when you import. Yeah, here it's import chart of account and balance. But if you are just strictly interested about the chart of account, you could go in the chart of account and click on import. And if you are interested about finding a file that contains the information you need to import, remember there are lots of places where you have this information. I will select here the L10NBE file. So you see here I'm on Odoo community, and usually the way we import stuff like that changed over the past version. I think it changed in version 17. Well, now in the models we have, yes, something like this, template BE, and then in the template, I'm going to make that bigger as well. In the template, we are going to inherit the chart template. We put some default values, and do we load that at the very end? There must be a place where we define the file that we are going to use. I don't remember if it's on this one or if it's in the manifest. Yeah, of course, there we are going to load tax report sequence, but there must be another place where we have that information. I think by default, we don't even have to mention it. It's going to select in the data, yes, everything in the template, and that is going to go through these CSVs. And if you're interested about the accounts, you have a default file that is here, and that is another way you could import your chart of account through CSV files or Excel files, knowing that again, if you have a look at a V16, it would be different in terms of not the structure of the CSV file, but the way the files in the template and data are put. I had to do that something like 6 months ago, helping a partner to create its own chart of account that is automatically loaded. And then there are maybe two different ways to answer also this is, do you need to import always the same chart of account, in which case it's better if you need to repeat that all the time and to have a one-click button that always installs the same chart of account. It's better to do it in the form of a module like we did, and there you have lots of examples like the Belgian chart, the French chart, the Swiss chart, all the charts that we have. If it's something that you need to do only once for a client, then I would say you just use the information that you have here in the template to know the structure of the file that you want to apply to upload the chart of account, but no need to create a module, because creating a module takes quite some time compared to just have a CSV file that is properly formatted. Jump to Suite, you continued replying to the question. So you said import the PDF for account move lines is created in the account 3200, but already imported in the onboarding balance. Wait, so then it's not that you have twice the same account, but it's that you would fear to have twice the same account move lines. So kind of having a duplicate entry or part of a duplicate entry. Let's say a duplicate journal item without S. So let's show that just to see if I'm correct about this. You're saying, okay, but if I import my balances on one side and I import open the invoices, maybe my balance will take already the information that I will re-import another time with the balance. Trying to find a way to explain this here. So let's imagine we have the balance, and you have your balance with a specific number in the debit or the credit for the customer account or even the sales, and you're going to tell me, yeah, but re-importing that invoice, the amount in debit and credit are already included in the balance. So if that's what you mean, usually I wouldn't have many options, but tell you to remove the amounts of the opened invoice from the balance, so that when you import the balance you don't have that information, or to have an extra entry that will balance off, I would say, the new invoice that you import. Because of course, when you start working on Odoo, you need to have both the balances of the previous software, or a specific date and time, because you want to restart using Odoo, and so you import the correct status of all of your accounts. But from that status and those amounts, you want to remove the open invoices, because the open invoices, you want to re-import them in Odoo and use the features like the follow-up report and things like that, just to ask your client to pay, and that makes sense. If your balances already include debit and credit of the open invoice, then it shouldn't be too complicated to have to use a bit of Excel just to remove the debit and credit amounts from the accounts that are being used on the open invoices. I would suggest that. I will ask that question to one of my more specialized into the accounting, one of my colleagues, just to see if there's another way to do that, a better way. Other possibility, if it's not by yourself changing the balances in your, let's say in your Excel, maybe there's another way to do the following, which would be import the balance, import all the invoices, and then select the invoice that are problematic to you and create the balancing entry so that you have the detail in Odoo even. And you have the balances, you have the invoices, and then you have the other journal entries that would counterbalance the invoices that you created because you don't want to count them twice. But I don't know which one is better in terms of accounting. I don't know if there's another better solution, but I can ask that because it's very interesting, and I'm not sure about the best way to do this. And I can do that so that I have an answer for next week, if that's still okay for you. All right. Just send me more on the chat on Twitch. Checking also here. You have another one. Okay. On YouTube, we have Antoine Huvelle that is asking in English. In an environment without accounting, how can I change easily the management mode of my product to go from standard to average costing? Are there kind of cautions to take? So without accounting, I need to check that. So I'm going to try this. I would assume that you are in version 18. So that I'm going to do. And it will allow me to show a little thing that lots of people don't know on Runbot. Is a possibility here when you click on this little gear icon to click on Connect Base. And we go there. It's going to select a database on which I would say usually nothing is installed, but there's somebody already installed a few modules, but you see it's not all the default modules installed by Odoo. But good thing is that we already have the invoicing installed and not the accounting, so that's what you needed. And you wanted to know, if I'm correct, how to change the product way of getting computed for the cost at least. So I'm going to check in the purchase, have a look at the product. I'm not sure it's possible. I'm going to explore that together with you. You know that since a lot of versions we have everything related to the product costing here, and then you can go for AFCO and changing cost method. An important change that yes, inventory valuation. All right, so this if I go on office furniture, it seems to still be working to be in AFCO. So if I go there, purchase, purchase, do we have the cost somewhere? Okay, I'm going to see if that is going to change. All right. Just curious about, okay, costs. We have accounting block screen, it's on 0. Let's try this. Going back on the purchase, I'm going to buy a few. All right, acoustic block screen. All right, I'm going to take whites. Let's say it's 10 for this one, and I'm going to purchase 5. So let's confirm. Let's receive, and let's also receive the bill. Just need to check, yes, it's a good, and we want to track the inventory. Good. And let's now receipt that is done, and let's receive the invoice. All right. Yeah, I always forget that one. Okay. And then let's do the same, but with another one. We'll duplicate it with different quantities and different prices this time. And let's see. Oops, if the products get computed correctly. Again. Up. All right. So, let's have a look at the products. Okay. Now we have a, we don't have a cost here. So it was not changed. And I don't know if it's related to the fact that we have or not the accounting module, because I don't think it would change that much. Just will. Can I have something in the stock in the reporting here? White. Okay, that is correct. but you will have to find yourself the associated cost, because in the end, the average costing here would mean like 250 divided by in 15, because you see then the amount. You see that when you select here in the list, it is going to change the sum that you have at the bottom of the page. Or what you can do also is group by, and then if you group by product, then you will have the right information. It shows the same, but here it's not reflected on the cost of the product. And I don't know if that is because I needed to change some information here, because it doesn't show the costs. That's maybe why you're asking the question, Antoine. Just checking if there's another way to get that information. I'm curious about something. I'm going to add Studio. I just wanted to discover also when that cost field exists, by the way, but it's not shown directly on the product. So if I go there, reselect my block screen, maybe that's part of the thing, that sometimes it's just a change in terms of versions. So I was expecting the cost to be somewhere here. Yeah, here it is. So there we have it, there we don't. That's maybe because on one side, no, it's office furniture for both. Why is it shown on one side and not on the other? That's a good question. Here it says, okay. So here it's also office furniture for both. So this one, yes, this one has variance. So that's why, while this one doesn't. So that's why I guess we show the cost, because on the other one, potentially cost would be different between one variant and the other. So I can go on the variant, and there, that is correct. And then we have the cost here. We can try that, just a quick computation, and try to see. We said, was it 250? Let me check back stock valuation. So we said 250 in 15. Yes, that's correct. So that's the cost that you have. So in fact, with Antoine, it's computing correctly the amounts. So you said the idea is to have a correct valuation that is correct and that you can trust. This you can trust because the amounts are correct, but now I understand that if you didn't do it in the past, how can you compute correctly the basic numbers? And that Odoo allows, if I'm correct, Odoo would allow you to change and to reevaluate it yourself. At least that's something that I think we had before. I'm going to check if on the variants you will have this possibility. But if I change the cost here, you see that is a cost that is computed by Odoo. And I say, no, in fact, historically, I know you have a different cost. I think that changing it and saving will change the stock valuation. I'm going to do this. Yes. And you see, because I changed it, it adds this. And saying, in fact, I'm going to augment the total value of 50 because what I changed on my side will make it a total of being valued at 300, which is correct since I said 20 times 15 equals 300. So Odoo is going to generate that kind of line, the one I'm selecting here, when you are in AFCO and you want to reevaluate the AFCO cost. And that is something that you can do if you move from one way of, well, let's say not having AFCO. And I suppose you are not using FIFO either, but you want to move to AFCO. So if you want to move to AFCO, you should have at least a base idea of the cost of your product when you are going to do that. So that would be a good way to start. Okay, another question maybe. And I'm happy to see that although we are on the 26th, we have questions. Because I was like, okay, are we going to have a few people watching the show while we are in a holiday period? But I'm happy some people connect. So I have something to do and not find questions on my side. So very good. Ahmed Hemad El-Yamani. I want to know how I can create many branches to my company. Okay. Okay, and Boyan Yordanov answered with videos to help. Okay, but let's get some insights. For this one, if it's just I'm going to say just that question. It's not usually too complicated because you could go, let's hope this one is still available. No, I think, no, it's correct. It seems to be available. So here I'm with my demo company, and if I want to create new branches, I can go there in the branches from the company place and create new branches. But now, I suppose that that's what you wanted. And if I use branch 1, I'm not going to even add new things here because maybe, well, the address, maybe you want to create it, but social media, I guess you don't have social media per account per branch. I will save and close, and I will create a second branch, branch 2, and then doing this, saving, Odoo is going to create those new items that are, by the way, I think technically speaking, also companies, and you can select them right here, and you can also, I think, select, well, say that some people can only be linked to specific branches. Right here, yeah, you could say, okay, that person is only working for the branch 1, so that he only has access to that information. So you can see this as a way to manage access right per branch, even though the accounting-wise, it's the same chart of account for well, like here we have a demo company. The chart of account is at the demo company level that we can have a look at if you go in the accounting side, right there. And in chart of account, you would see that the companies, it's still demo company. And I wonder if I could select a different company than this one. Let's imagine I'm just selecting that. Can I create one and say, or go in this one view and see if I can, no, I can create some account that are in only one branch, but I don't think that I could start a new parallel chart of account, because if I group everything per company, yeah, Odoo is not creating it for me. And if I go in the configuration and I say I would like to be only in branch 2, yeah, it's not asking me to reuse another chart of account. So it's a good check to be sure that the chart of account is managed at the parent company and not at the branch. That's how you would do for creating your branch. It's really going to the settings, select the companies, and here inside the companies, like select the one for which you want to create child branches, and that's where you would go to do that. But then I don't know exactly what you would like to do with some branches. I suppose that the example that we have a lot is that you have a point of sales, and that some point of sales you have them up here. You would have to create a new shop, and that new shop would be branch 2, because yeah, here it's going to I would have, I guess, to change a bit of information related to the my accounting, because I'm going to reuse either the journals that would have the same code, or accounts that would have the same code, and I'm not allowed to do that. So maybe I should create a point of sale first from the main company, and then switch it to another one. So I see another question here also on LinkedIn from Saliha Bentoumi. I would like to set up an automation in Odoo 17 Enterprise that sends me an email notification on the same day whenever an activity status is set to today, and ensuring that I don't forget it. I tried implementing this using an automated action rule, but it didn't work as expected. Okay, let's try that. We can try with version 17. I'm going to go again on the runbot, because I don't think I still have a version 17 available. Let's go there and let's try it. I think that it would work. I don't think it's super complicated, but I'm not sure about that. We'll see. So the idea is, when you have a new activity like this one, and that it is scheduled for today, or is it only for today or? Okay, it's for today. You would like to receive something very important. In what you are asking me, you would like to know, okay, if the activity is scheduled for today, and in my way of thinking, it's at the creation. Knowing that if you do this and you would like to, let's imagine I create another activity, and I do it for in 2 days, not in 2 days, but or let's say, yeah, next week. This one should trigger an email. This one should not. And the way you explain it, this one should not, even though, even in 4 days. If that's what you want and you say, no, in 4 days, I would like also to receive a notification because of this one, then I would say that my answer would be different. One thing that you can do is eventually work with automation rules. If we are talking about the first case, I'm going to illustrate that. Let's do it on this one, and I will come back with another reason for why I shouldn't use automation rules if I want to cover the second use case as well. Let's do the first one. Okay, so basically, very naively, I would go into the automation rules. Oh, not the subscription ones. I'm always need to go first in debug mode. Automation rules over there. I create a new one. Email when today for activities. Yes. Okay. And I'm going to use the notion of activity. I think that's the one. And I'm going to say trigger on save. And then we need to use something like, I don't know if I can create it here. Do we have a date plan, due date? Yeah, I guess it's due date. And then I would need to use something like today. And I'm never quite sure of the way we can do this. So I will need to use a bit of help from my tool here, where I have some specific filters that I'm using from time to time. I'm going to check if we can use simply context today like this. I'm not sure it will work. So if this, I would say if this is smaller or equal to, I guess that's the one. We're going to try this, but I'm not sure Odoo will let me do that. Confirm. Ah, yes, it's fine. It's finding some items, so that's good. I will keep it that way. So if it's if the due date is today, smaller or equal, I will add an action and I will say send email, and I will use. Do we have an email template? No, we don't. Test activity email. Then of course the issue is that we need to create a fake subject test with some content and some email configuration there. I'm not going to put auto delete because we'll need it. I just want to check if it's really being sent. Okay, save and close. Action cannot only be done. Yes, okay. That is the issue. An activity doesn't have a mail thread. So that's why you cannot select it. That's maybe where you were blocked, Saliha. That's a good point. The explanation is the following. Odoo allows to send emails for objects or models. From the error that is given by Odoo, that's what I understand. Odoo allows you to create emails and have an email thread for all the different models that have, like here, a chatter. But activities themselves don't have a chatter. They are linked to a chatter, but they don't have one. So if I go, I will keep this one open, but if I go in another place, there are lots of objects that don't have a chatter, by the way. If I go in the contacts configuration countries, countries don't have a chatter either. So I will try to do the same with countries just to see if there's some error. So countries emails. Okay, let's try this one, and let's try to add an action. Send an email again. yes, trigger on save. Yeah, it's the same notion. So I guess it's that the issue is that if you don't inherit the notion of a chatter, it's impossible for Odoo to send emails because for him there's not the toolbox for managing emails and chatter thread on the side of the record you are on. So that's why you may have this. Is there a way that we can circumvent this one? I'm not sure. What we could do is send an email based on the thread of the parent object that is containing this, but it would be then a bit different. I'm going to try this. So as the activity, we said there's no email. We cannot use an email action. So I'm going to try something different and execute some code and go back, to the parent object and see if we can make use of the chatter. But what worries me is that if I make use of the chatter on the parent object, I'm not going to send only an email to the person of the activity, but to everyone. So I will need to make sure that I'm only selecting the email of the person on the activity, and then I wonder if there's not a better way to do that, or simply create a new email from scratch. That could be a bit long, but I wonder if we already have something existing in Odoo for doing that. Do we have a place where we create emails from scratch using... Now, if we use templates, it's not going to work because templates can only work, I guess, for the same reason on objects that have a thread, but we can try that. Let's have a look at the email templates. I suppose that it's always for things that have threads, slides, event registration, tasks, user. Yes, I think every time for all the objects we have here, there's always they all inherit from email thread, because otherwise it wouldn't be, well, for the same reason Odoo would give an error message. Yeah, because basically that's what it's really what Odoo was saying. I don't know if it's easy to create an email from scratch in Odoo, because in the end, the condition seems okay to me. What is missing now is the creation of a record. Can I create something like a mail? Let's remove that. I'm really doing something here that I've never done before, so it's completely exploratory. So, okay. Can we create a new mail? And if I create a record, yes. Do we have body something? No. The issue is that if I create a new record, there are few mandatory things that won't be generated in terms of field value, so I guess I won't be able to go further than this. So the only way I can do that is to create, well, to execute code and to create a new object. So I will make that bigger as well. Oops. So the idea is the following. If we cannot use the notion of a template to send an email because we don't have an email thread, I can create maybe a mail that is not linked to anything. I'm not sure it's a good idea, by the way, but I just want to technically see if there's a possibility to do that. And then in order to create a new mail, I will need to give some information about the emails that are mandatory, like the subject. Okay. And I would say just test. What else do we have after the subject? We have the from, the to. Okay. Let's see, from. Then the from should be record dot. Then I need to know the model that we have on the activity. Okay. Is it author or is it something different? It's just the user. User ID assigned to, yeah, okay. I will use notion of just the same person sending an email to himself. So this, do we have, that is going to be a bit more complicated because I need to also use, no, email to, that's okay. Was it email from or just from? Email from, okay. So let's try email from, email to. Reply to, we'll see after that. The body, I will put some quick thing and blah blah. Okay. I'm pretty sure it's not complete enough, and the chances that this works are really, really low. But I want to give it a try. All right, so is it the same? Yeah, it's the same environment. Let's retry creating a new one for today. Yeah, then we have an error. What is it telling me? At that moment, that's the first good thing. It knows here, not there. It knows here what is the context today, but when it is doing it from another place, it doesn't know what is the context today value, so it's not possible to use as such. I don't know if there's a possibility to use a notion of date time or relative delta. I'm going to use maybe this notion instead, because then it's true that there we don't have any context. Is this one better? I'm not sure it will work. It's giving the same result, but is it going to work over there? Let's try to do it again. Okay, all right, over there. Ah, that works, good. So you see, that's funny because this has the same result in terms of records, but it's not written with the notion of context, so that is working. Okay. So if I didn't save this, but did it create a new mail? Yes, apparently. But it didn't create only one, it created 4 same second. So that there's already an issue, because why did it create 4 different emails? That's because over there, let me check, because we simply, the way I did is, and that's maybe something that is potentially not super good. It is that since version 18 or maybe 17, now you have onSave and you don't have onCreate. And if you want to have an onSave that only is applied once, you need to apply it also on items. I'm going to try that, for which there's no ID yet. ID is not set. I'm going to try this one and see if it's working better. I'm going to remove those 4 ones. Delete, delete. Ah, yeah, I cannot do that, but that's okay. We know that it would be a new one or a different one because of the date. I'm going to redo the same, cancelling. Of course, doing this, you should also be careful that when you cancel activities, Odoo would delete the emails linked to them. So it would be nice to also have a field that links my emails to my activities. Doing this, to do date today, blah, blah. Okay. Do we have now only 5 or 8? Yeah, 5. That's correct. So this one was only to be created. So okay, it's really a first try because I'm pretty sure there are a lot of things missing in the email that we want to create. So it would be nice to improve this with a bit more information. So the reason why I had to resort to this notion is to create directly the model, the record of the right model, which is an email that will be sent. As there's no mail thread, you are not going to be able to make use of extra mail thread capabilities, among which, if you, and that's a good one, if you reply to that email, it's going to reach the catch-all, and the catch-all will be like, okay, but I don't know that email, and so maybe it's going to create a lead or something else, or maybe simply fail, because Odoo won't have, this email won't be attached to any thread, so that would be a first first issue. Second issue is that if you want to do this with a cron so that it works also for the ones designed in the future, you would have to do it a bit differently so that it's not at the creation time but at the moment where this is met in terms of date. You know that you have the possibility to do the following, which is not use the onSave but based on a date field, but that is very, very tricky because when you do it based on a date field, Odoo is going to do the following. As every time that this will get executed and you base it on a date field, if the domains are correct, you are going to send an email and then another one and then another one. So if you base it on a date field, potentially for just one activity, you are going to send a lot of emails. So that's always something that you need to know. One of the ways you want to avoid that and have only one email being sent is to use the notion of marketing automations, because in marketing automation, what you have, do we have it here? Yeah, in marketing automation, when you create a new one, and I'm going to reuse one of those, you are going to have, if I start it, you are going to have participants and work items. So when we send a welcome email based on some conditions that you are going to find over there, like email is set, blacklisted, blah, blah, and it could be a timed condition, it could be any other condition, Odoo is going to send one welcome email. And the next time that you have a record matching the conditions, Odoo will be like, okay, but I don't have to send again a welcome email to that person because I see there is a work item linked to this activity and that record. And that you have on the campaigns, but you don't have it when you send emails through the automated actions or automation rules that we have here. Very important. If at some point you realize you spam people with automation rules, that's simply because you have most of the time it's date-based or condition-based, and you don't pay attention because you cannot really do it in a perfect way. You don't pay attention that the rules that you have defined here ignores the fact that you have already sent an email or not for that same notion. So that's why at the beginning I was saying that if you plan to do it for a date in the future, it's better to do a cron. But the way I wanted to do it with marketing campaign, it wouldn't work because for the same reason, Odoo is going to tell you, oh yeah, but activities, they need to work based on an object that has mail thread. So same reason of why we couldn't use the email type of action in the automation rules. So very, very tricky. In fact, simple demand looks like, okay, very easy to achieve, but because of the fact activities don't have a mail thread, it's making it more difficult. Another way to do that, as I said, was eventually not to do it this way, based on the activity, but rather from the activity move back to the parent. That's another possibility. So you would give, you would do another execution, and that other code execution would be to go from record to what would be the parent? No, it wouldn't be that easy. You would need to find the object containing the activity. And that you do the following way. You would have to find the right record. That is a bit trickier. You need to find the right model from here. So where was the activity notion? I would go back to the models. Activity. Well. And from there, mail activity. I think it would be res model and res ID. Yes. Res model, so that's what you would need. All right, you need to do this res model dot maybe a search or a browse. Not sure about this one. Maybe the browse would be the best, but I will do it with the ID first. ID equals, and then it would be equal to res ID, and then you will have the right record. That should be giving you the right item, and based on this you would go on the record and say something like message post, or I don't remember exactly what it is, but again this way of doing would ping everyone that is attached to the chatter where you have the activity. So I'm not sure that would be a smart way to do. I'm not saying that there's no smart way to do that, but this one is maybe not so bad, knowing the difficulty of doing something on the activities. There may be already existing modules of the in the community doing such a thing. Let me check if we have on apps.odoo.com I'm leaving this one. All right. If we have something on the activity, but that's very, very broad. Yeah. That would be a bit more complicated to do. Activity management, maybe there you will find something related to this. So not that easy, your demand. I don't remember who it was. Saliha Bentoumi, I think. Okay, we can go to the next question eventually. Yes, it was Saliha. All right, Silvano Saraiva on LinkedIn is asking, hello, how to show in any process line the product code and product name separately with no change directly in the view code. So I'm not sure of what you call process lines. Can you maybe explain what you want with the notion of process line? Because I don't know if it's related to the production module or if it's linked to anything else. And I'm pretty sure that if you say with no change directly in the view code, that's going to be difficult because usually that's how we would solve it, or at least have a mix of change in the view or change the code, but purely standard, I don't think that it is possible. Let me check if I understand the question well. I will go into manufacturing because when you talk about process line, it makes me think of manufacturing, but I don't know if that's exactly what you mean. Going there, I don't know if that would be things like here, not seeing the product name, well, the product code, but only the product name. This one, and this is a report that exists, or if it's not a report, it's a view. Let me check what we have in terms of information here. It's an action, it's M overview, but it doesn't look like it's a client action. Okay. I'm going to check what we can find around this notion of. No, it's not the enterprise one, I think. No, it's on Odoo community. Okay, XML, we have it here. What is it going to do? Okay. It has its own model. Overview, blah blah. Okay. Report M. I don't know what it. No, it's just some context. Okay. I don't know which one is going to load here in terms of view that comes after. And I'm going there, but I don't even know if that's exactly what you want. So that would be wise maybe to have some explanation on your side just to see if I go in the right place. But yeah, here. That is just the button. I guess that would be maybe with some extra JavaScript to load the information that we have here, because I guess, yeah, there are buttons here to replenish. So I suppose it's more like a JavaScript view that does that. But most of the places where you have code plus product name, that is done either in the views, like XML views that are available. Let's go there. Here, let's give an example. We had that in the past with the sale order lines, but it's not the case anymore. Where do we have this? Let me check if I can find a place where we do that information. But there we have it. No, I was wrong. In fact, we still have it, or it's because it's version 17. I'm quickly going on version 18 just to check if it's still working the same way. When I went on the products here, if I create a new order, like we did last time. No, we had again you see the notion of having the product description, well, not description, name on the right side, and then the code on the left side. And that is, I believe, let's create a new one. Yes, okay, product here, description. That is, I believe, because Odoo will fetch, in terms of showing the name, the complete name, or the display name, as we call it for Odoo, is reference plus name of the product. So without changing views, usually you need to, as we did at the beginning of this session for finding the right description for the sale and get rid of some default behavior of Odoo, you need to go in the code or in the view to say, no, I'm just interested in the product name and not the display name. So the name that contains on the left side between brackets the reference, and that is something that you need to change in the code. But maybe if you can explain exactly where you want it, then I will be able to come back with a bit more detailed view on how you can change that. Going on another question on YouTube from Boppy. I have to change sales and purchase prices of my product. Can this be only done in separate processes? Is there any option for Odoo Online to change the font size of PDFs generated to smaller ones? Okay, so two questions. I will start with the first one from the same person, Bopio. I have to change the sales and purchase prices of my product. Can this be done in separate process? You cannot really force that to be done in a specific place. Because in fact, I can show you that eventually from the purchase place. Let's imagine I'm exporting this. And I export it with I'm talking about the product, not the purchase orders. If I select the product and I want to change the sale price, you see here it's list underscore price. I could go there, export, and change the value, re-import it. It's even there, you see, the list price. I will select just the two first ones, just to play a little bit. Exporting this one, saying I want to make it importable, compatible, so that will make it easier for me. I will just change the list price. Going there, I'm just going to add one at the end. Okay, so that we make the price way more expensive. And then I'm going to import. And if I go there, I'm going to switch this because it's in my downloads, product imports. It moves everything in fact. Okay, let's test this one again. All right, everything seems valid. I'm going to import and it's going to refresh and to update the information about my product because there is an ID that we've covered that several times during the show. And now I change the sale price. So if you have import rights or let's say update rights, you can do this from pretty much any place where you have a sale price, or not even where you have a sale price. Any place where you can create or update products, lots of people will have the ability to do that. So eventually, if the idea or the point behind your question is, I would like to make it impossible for other people to change those prices because I care, then the answer would be a bit different. I would say, in that case, change the access rights so that people cannot change the cost of the product. And in first way of doing this is to say that some people don't have access to in write or create mode on the product catalog. And by default, if you go in the access rights, you would see that in terms of product templates or product, you will see that lots of different people have access to in write mode or create mode. So purchase user, inventory users, no, they cannot. But product creation here, inventory admin, purchase admin, they can do that. So maybe the way you want to do this is check the access right of your users and remove that notion of write or creation access so that they cannot change the cost or the price of your product. That would be a first place. Or a first idea for you to manage that. Another one would be to use price list and to make people unable to edit or change price list with a combination of access rights, the same way as I was explaining here, or simply make it impossible for them to even see the menu for the sales price. Going on my default environment here, if we go into sales, you know that you have the price list on the sales side. If we're talking about the sale price, for example, you could go here and say, but in fact, you know what? For each and every product, I'm going to define a new rule. So whatever people put inside the product in terms of sales price, I'm going to neglect that and put another price. It's a bit overkill to do that because it means you need to create one new rule per product. But you could do this and say, okay, my motorbike, in fact, I don't want to use the price that is on the product itself, that is here, 5,000, but I would like to have a new fixed price. and put a higher amount. So that means what? That means that although you have a list price or a catalog price, if you like, on the product, whatever you have here and whatever people do if they want to change and that amount, Odoo is not going to use it because it's always going to use that fixed price over there. So we can try this. If I put anything here and I select my motorbike, you see the price list, the price that is selected is 5,600 and not 5,000. So that's potential thing that you could do as well. It really depends of the use case and what you want to accomplish. But separate process you don't really have. But usually that question is, I would like to limit some people in terms of edition capabilities on the product prices. All right. And the second question that you had was any option for Odoo Online to change the font size for PDF generated files to smaller ones? Yes, it's possible. Maybe I can show that depending on how many places you would like to do this. That's going to be a bit more trickier. But in the views, every time that you generate a PDF, let me check if there's not a way that I can do that quickly for everything. Well, I'm going to explain that and dive at the same time to the explanation. So remember last time we went to the quotation, the document. Was it sale order document, the name? I'm never sure. Yes. There. And there you have the sale order thing. And if you want to make things bigger, you can go here and say, for example, I'm going to change a few things, maybe the description or the name of the product. Yeah, here. Remember, we were changing earlier today, like the product name. I'm going to change that and say, in fact, it's not a span, or I can keep it a span and change the style and say that I will use the font size attribute and say, and I will double the size and we'll see if that is working fine when I go back to my sale order. Yeah, you see it's pretty big because I wanted to have the text bigger. Okay, let's try this. We'll see if it works. Yes, you see this is way bigger now than it was before. So, of course, that means that I had to do on my side is to know the style notion or the CSS, so I could change this. But maybe there's a way you can do that if you really want to do it everywhere. I wonder if we can do that maybe right there and just. I will put to him just to make it more visible everywhere. But I'm putting this on the page because it englobes everything inside. So let's try this. There's maybe a better place to put that in terms of CSS. Okay, that is working already in that place. It's very, very ugly. And you see, yeah, good point. You see that it's only taking the central part because it's not taking into account the header of the or the footer. So that's why you see here that is not going to be bigger, but or nor the address, but all the rest is. Of course, here I put twice as big, but it could be a bit smaller than this one. Other possibility is not to change it there because then I'm only impacting this and only this PDF. Maybe the best way would be to go and have a look at the external layout thing and see if that would change it. External layout. The default one, but I don't know the one I'm using at the moment. And that usually you can find it by going into the settings. If you have a look, I'm using the standard one, so that's okay. Standard over there, and I guess there is a bit of yes, the layout class here to find the right information and the right classes. You see we use a lot of class information that is containing the company ID information. I'm pretty sure that there is a CSS file that is matching all of this. But maybe we could go here and retry this one. Yeah, and this time you see that is for the header. It changed, but not the rest, and not the footer, by the way. So, oops, that is the place apparently for the header. Yes, you see it was header related, and then I guess you have the central part and the footer, but you couldn't do it here, I suppose. So you would have to do that. We can try at the three different places. It's not very professional, this one, because I think it would be better done in the CSS files that are related to this. I can try to find the places where we have a footer class. We'll check that just after. Just wanted to make a last check here. If you want to do it quick and dirty, that would work, but at least it works here, it works there. Oops. But the central part, maybe it's not correct. Why did I change this in a wrong way? Yeah, maybe it should be done in the file that you load. So combination of the first change I made and this change to have it on the header, the footer, and the central part. Otherwise, another place where we could find the CSS file is that here we see it. We have a footer content class, so I wouldn't be surprised that we would find the right CSS file or SCSS the following way. Footer content, web static, yes, report. That would be a CSS file that you could change over there, just to have, yes, in the footer or the body, the right EMs. So if you want to change it everywhere, that's maybe the place where you would need to go, just to change it in CSS instead of putting it in line like I was doing in the report. That's a potential place. All right, we have a few more minutes to answer a few extra questions. Which one is it? We have lots of questions. That's very good. Goodes LP on Twitch this time. He's asking us, hey, you have an idea to create multiple field service worksheets, like you have one field service task but a need for 10 or 100 engines in a checklist. In fact, what you ask is that you would like multiple worksheets on the same task, because otherwise creating multiple worksheets would work. Let me check if I have the field service. No, I will add it here in my apps, field service application. Because what you are asking is, we know it's possible to create multiple worksheets, but you usually only use one on a task. So the issue that you have here is that you would like on one big task to have lots of worksheets. That is going to be tricky. I'm pretty sure that it would require a bit of dev or more thinking. So the worksheet template that you have, the default one that you will find inside Odoo is a design here, default worksheet. If you click on design, you will have the ability to change it. I thought it was different. That's because that's the default one, but I'm confused here. I think what I wanted to see is the one that you have. Do we have field service here? Yes. With the demo data, you have another one. Default installation or maintenance, and if you click there, then you have more information. But it's okay. I will use the very, very empty one, this one, without any specific design, because your question is not so much about designing the template, it's about adding them to the task. The issue that we have is that when we create a new task, Odoo Insider task, whoops, test, you see you have only one worksheet template, and so that's the one that is going to be used, blah blah, customer, okay, and that's the one that Odoo is going to load. Yes, okay. And so what you would need and would like is to have several ones. So that is, yeah, do we have the field that is behind? No, that's the other one. Okay. Usually the data model will help you there. I'm going to select, no, that's not here, the field service, but it's a task in fact. A field service item like you have here, this one is a task. It just has some fields that are hidden and some others that are shown compared to the regular notion of task. So I'm going to the project task, and I'm pretty sure that I'm going to find, you see here there are 200 fields. Pretty sure that we'll find something related to the worksheet. Yes, allow worksheets. And then we have worksheet information, template ID here. So it means we only have one, so you would have to create a new field that is containing several templates, and also because then we have the signature signed by. I guess there's also the worksheet itself, and not only okay, you answered. Like the same template 20 times for 20 machines, yeah. Because I'm wondering here, it cannot be that we have only the Manito one to worksheet template. I guess we have also a direct link with the worksheet being completed. But it would mean that we have another Manito one. I'm going to check that. Do we have another Manito one that would be useful for this Manito one? So we have calendar, activity, currency, image, milestone, blah 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 blah. No, that's worksheet. Okay, maybe it's considered an attachment at the end then. That's maybe why. So then we have one too many's, but we don't have. Nope. I'm trying to find a solution with the default data model that we have inside Odoo, because here it's a one-to-one relationship kind of between the worksheet and Odoo, the task. So I'm going to put a few things here just to check. First installation, blah blah, worker signature, okay, adopt and sign, very good. Yeah, worksheet completed. And is it that we have something? No, it's not considered at the end like this. Like it's not an attachment, but it's linking to, yes, a worksheet item. We can see the configuration. Can we see all the worksheets? That's something I never checked. No, that's funny. They are only available through the right field service. Because then, let's imagine we find a way to have multiple items. So it would mean having a worksheet template here, same template, but lots of worksheet items. That would mean anyway that I suppose you would like to sign it also 100 times. So we would have to go from the field service to the list of worksheets and sign them one by one, and so to have maybe a link between on the worksheet at least, as you're mentioning, 20 times or 100 times the same kind of machines but different machines. It would mean having at least something that differentiates one machine to another, and you will have to sign it as many times. So it would maybe be to go through another kind of view where you have the list, but I don't know exactly how is that worksheet object behaving. I don't even know. Worksheet template. Okay. Worksheet custom. I don't know how to create new ones. Load the worksheet template. Those are every time new object, in fact, with a new field that you have. Okay, so can we play around this? If you use always the same template, okay, let's see. And then you have the task many to one. All right, let's try something. Now that you have created this, can we create a one to many kind of a new button here? It's again completely complete new exploration. Worksheet Odoo Insider, and then let's try to have my studio objects at the bottom. Yes, this one. So I could have several ones. let's try to see if this works. I have my worksheet here, and if I create a new one, yeah, blah blah blah, and other serial number. Operation can be. Okay, but you have that. That is not helping. Okay, that is problematic because then Odoo believes that it shouldn't happen, that you should have only one worksheet. It's too bad because, honestly, not to brag about that, it was potentially a very good, simple solution, but it's not working. Why? Because Odoo, in its data model, made it in such a way that there should be a unique constraint between the worksheet, the worksheet and the task on which it is performed. Otherwise, this one wouldn't be too bad. You hide this one and you show this one so that you go through a list and you create new ones for the same task. This would work, but you would have first to get rid of the condition, the extra condition that we have. I'm going to show you which one it is. You see here we have duplicate key, violate unique constraint. So there's a constraint, and we can check that. I guess it would be in the field service management application. So we can go on GitHub again. We'll try to find the field service. It's FSM. Documents FSM, helpdesk, blah 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 blah. Industry. Yes, this one. And I guess that inside we are going to find some models and some explanation in the task that is telling us that in fact we have a unique constraint. No, it's not there. A constraint. I would expect to see it here. Do we have? No, it's maybe it's on the worksheet rather. Okay, task responsibility. It's fun because I would have expected this one to be there, but it's true, it's not on the task, it's on the worksheet, on the worksheet template. But what I find unusual is that it's the object is not in the field service application, and I need to check that. Oh, not this one, but yeah, every time we create a new model, so it's inside, and somehow we create new objects because Studio, when we go in the worksheet, every time we create from the worksheet template, we create new worksheets that are done with Studio kind of features because it's prefixed with x_studio. And so when we create those ones, Odoo directly is creating that extra unique condition. And so it's maybe not there, but rather in some Studio kind of module that we are going to have that. How can I find this one? It's a bit complicated. We have maybe I can find some help by going again in the field service. Need to go and refresh this one and check the object itself, worksheet template. Okay, where do we have worksheet templates information? There's a worksheet object. Okay, worksheet template. When we create, we have going to have a new constraint, something like this. Yes, unique constraint to the X model since we want one worksheet per host record. So that is what is going to bother us. So we need to, if you want to accomplish it the same way I did, in the generate worksheet model, you will need to get rid of that in a nice way. I'm not going to illustrate that now because I'm pretty sure I will do it in a very, very ugly way. But you need to get rid of the constraint that you have here, otherwise it won't be possible to do. So if you cannot, there are always two ways of analyze this. If you cannot do what we were talking about because of the constraint that we have, another possibility is to ease the way you duplicate tasks. Because when you say, okay, but I would like to have one task with lots of worksheets, another possibility would be to say, okay, if it's not possible to duplicate or have lots of worksheets, we could find a way to, on your side, generate all the tasks so that we keep the one-to-one relationship between a worksheet and a task, but we make it easier for you to generate all the tasks beforehand. That would be a possibility. Then I would rather exploit if you don't want to dive into the code to change this. Yeah, that would be potentially how I would solve it. And in that case, it would mean creating a host task that would be a template like this one, and adding a if not a duplicate button. Once your task is ready, you can eventually let's say create, I don't know, 50 tasks that would be the same with exactly the same information for the same day. So you create your task once the template task. Once you are happy with it, you duplicate several times, or if it's 100 times and you don't want to click on the duplicate button yourself, we create a quick script for that that would be going through the duplicate several times for you and accelerate the creation of all these tasks. But yeah, there's no miracle there, exception made of changing the information over here. Okay, Silvano Saraiva on LinkedIn is is going back on a question that he had earlier, but I don't remember it then. How to show in... yes, that was the one on MRP, yes. All right. So it was, yes, in the sales order line. Yeah, okay. The moment to insert a product, we see the code and description. I would like to separate both. Okay. So that's for all the other viewers. We go back on the previous question where I was asking extra information, saying here, those ones, they don't have... In my example, I have here, I don't have any product that apparently has a code, so I'm going to change that and say that the engine, you have a reference and zero, or some information here. And I guess that if I create a new quote here, this time I have both information. And the thing is, Silvano, if it's on the quote, you could be reusing the information that we used earlier. Remember, by saying, okay, let's enter a description instead. Like here, have a look. We say quote description engine. And if I do this, I will remove it. And I select my engine here. You see there, it will select and show everything. On my side, at the beginning of this session, maybe you were not there. I don't know, but that would be wise to have a look at how I made it possible to only have this, which is the name. Well, here it's not the name of the product, it's the sales description that I'm selecting and putting in another field. We could do the same with just the name if you don't want to have the sales description, but just use the name, so that you use the name and not, name is this and not the display name. But again, pay attention in the confusion between the name of a sales order line and the name of the product. But another possibility would be to go here and just change. I'm going to make another change to the same document that we had a look at earlier. Here, if you remember, we've been there several times today. I could go and say, in fact, I don't want the line name, but I want the product ID name. And this, if I go there and I print this one, I think that just the name would be engine. Yeah, the name is engine. But if I select the display name, let me check. No, it's not here, it's there. Up. If I select display name, then I have both. And let's redo it. Then display name, you have the total. So you see, it depends of if you are interested about this feature only on the report. If it's only on the report, you change the reports, knowing that you have different variables available. Either the line name. The line name is the description. I'm going to repeat that. The line name is the total information that we have here. That is the name field, and Odoo is going to select everything and put it and package it together. If you think there's too much information there, then you need to reduce it. Possibilities are among the following. Create a new field like we did and select the information that you would like to have inside. And that information could be the product name, the product sales description, the product code, or let's say a combination of several ones. The way that we did it here is not too bad. If you say I always at all time only want the name, then the best thing you could do is change this and say product ID, not display name, but just the name. That would work. If you want the name plus description, then find a way to augment this with the fields that you would like to add in addition to the name. If you say, yeah, but I would like to have this everywhere, like in the purchase application, in the sale application, in the invoicing application, then in that case, it's more like, it's a bit strange, but to get rid of the idea of the display name in Odoo altogether, and that is a bit more complicated because that display name, or the way it is, Odoo is going to add it, is really, I would say, everywhere. I'm going back to the Odoo community version just to show it on a sale application or the purchase one. Purchase would be a bit easier, I think. Yes, I need first to go into the add-ons just to show how Odoo is going to use that information of display. Purchase application. All right, and there we have in the models. I guess that's where I'm going at the moment. I'm not sure. It's a purchase order line. Do we have a notion of display? Display type, blah, blah, blah. Display name, yes. Okay, so when we create a new line, Odoo is going to have a look at, no, it's not exactly what I wanted, but it's using the display name. But that would be the message that we are going to have in the chatter, so it's not so much what we want. Do we have a place where we select the display name, purchase history, display name? Okay, is it here? So you can see that lots of places we don't use the name, but just the display name, and you will have to change that somewhere. Yes, I think it's here, purchase description, so that you don't select the display name but just the name. I wouldn't be surprised if that were the place where we need this. Product ID, yes. So when you change the product ID, it's going to load the description, and that is it. Depending on the language of the user, by the way. So that is where you would need to change that. But there you would only change it on the purchase side. We need to do that on the other place as well. Is there maybe a place where we compute it? If I'm saying display name, I'm astonished that it's not a field where we explain how it is computed. Display name over there. Okay. Yes. Okay. I'm not super knowledgeable on that particular aspect because I was thinking of the following. We have the name field available, and the name field, just to make it clear, the name field, let's go back here, is this. That is the name field. I think we can see it when you go there. You see the label and the field name, technical name is name. Display name is selecting this one, well, this, putting it in brackets, and putting engine after. Yes, but it's not on the purchase order that we have the display name. It would be on the product. So I guess maybe I'm not going to find it here in the product, but rather in the product file, in the product application. Yes, I would rather go product here, and if I go on the models and select the product or product template, I guess both would have it. If I go on a display name, compute display name, and then we explain how the display name is made. That's maybe better if you want to get rid of it everywhere. Just change it on product template so that you don't have the formatting of both default code and name. That would be maybe a generic way to do, overwriting the compute display name if you have the possibility. Otherwise, if you are kind of a SaaS-like environment where you cannot change the code like here, you would have to do it on the views in several places, and that would make it possible to achieve. Okay, guys, I see it's already 12 p.m. I'm astonished that you were that many while we are still in a holiday period. We'll, as usual, keep the questions that you have extra and add them to the file where I will process them once we have a bit more time or when we need to pre-record our sessions. Thanks a lot for the attention. I see that you are quite a lot on YouTube. Yes, next week. Thanks, Arthur. Next week, something special. I told you we start 30 minutes earlier just to test a bit the timing here. It won't last 2 hours and a half. It will still be 2 hours, but it starts 30 minutes earlier as usual. So perfect. Thanks a lot again for being here. For those who celebrate that, Merry Christmas and already Happy New Year, because next time it will be next year. So enjoy that time together with your family and a bit with Odoo as well, I guess. And see you next week. Bye-bye, guys.